This is Roger Struckhoff with Syscon TV. We're at CloudEXPO West in Santa Clara in the year 2015, whether we like it or not. And we're joined right now by Tony Teora with DataClear. And we're going to talk about security. And welcome, by the way. And the thing is, when we talk about any sort of security in any device, it seems like some people think of it as sort of an add-on. Let's make sure we have it. I think you need to integrate from the beginning.
Right. No, I totally agree. A lot of folks hear about security, and when you work in these larger corporations, you can actually see the challenges with security. And, people hear about it in the news. They'll hear things like maybe Edward Snowden talking about, endpoint security. Obviously, we had a security problem with him. They took all the country's data with him. Yeah. But security starts very simply, at home when you're on a PC, people know mostly about it for virus software, or when they get a malware, or when their computer stops working and they're like, what am I going to do? And then, of course, they call somebody who knows a little bit about, a friend or somebody who knows about IT and can help them with their computer, or they bring it into a shop. But what we saw at DataClear, when we thought about this, we said, hey, how do we make a secure desktop, for people and for corporations? And we looked at things like the endpoint. So we created a custom desktop on a product called Raspberry Pi. There's about 3+ million of those out there. We did it on Linux, and we used a program called Python. And so what happened?
This is the kind of geeky talk I like. I'm getting excited. This is great. Raspberry Pi and Python. Okay, let's and Linux. Okay, go.
Sorry.
Oh, I love it. Go.
So the Pi is about 3 million, and mostly in the educational market because they're really inexpensive. This engineer from Cambridge, or a chip designer, built them. He's doing quite well. So we said, hey, how can we make something that's inexpensive? So we built it on the Pi. Then what happens is with that, you actually connect into the cloud. And you can be an on-premise cloud, so a business could have it. We said, hey, we could sell this to business besides just regular consumers. So a company puts in a couple servers, and they buy these little Pis, and they connect up, and they get a brand new clean virtual computer every time they log in. Because what happens is the longer you're on the network, or the longer you're on the internet, you have a higher chance of getting a virus or malware. So when you log out, it's like a disposable computer. That computer's destroyed. Now you're going to say, well, what about my data? Well, we take the data and we encrypt it, and we store it on the server with AES 256 encryption. So for a corporation, a lot of corporations and even the government, somebody hacks into their network and they just copy the files. But if their files are encrypted, they shouldn't be able to read them. Right. So it gives you better security.
So I think I heard personal and business. What sort of customers do you have? It sounds like you can handle the very, very high end, but maybe not necessarily everything has to be the federal government or Fortune.
No, not at all. We're a startup, and we actually started on basically a consumer product. And as we were building, we said, you know what? The businesses are really going to want this. So we created a solution for small businesses, typically 25 to maybe 250 users in a business. A lot of corporations, the larger corporations, are going to have people doing Citrix. They're going to have their own people there. So we're targeting small to middle-sized businesses, and we're coming out in the next 3 to 6 months with a product called the Black Box, which is a version of our Pi that's going to be used for consumers at home. So they'll be able to buy a Black Box, the keyboard and everything for under $100, and they'll be able to pay a subscription price, something between $9.99 and $19.99 a month to get their desktop.
Do you think the people who created Raspberry Pi had this in mind?
Probably not, but if you look at the Raspberry Pi community, there's so many magazines. They have mobile applications. People are using it for everything. And finally, with the Pi 2, it now has the performance and memory that it actually works as a great thin client.
You follow Moore's law for the last several decades, and everything's all about power and big, and more processing power, more storage, blah 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 blah. You're achieving this stuff sort of with not so powerful. You don't need the Saturn V rocket.
I'm an engineer by trade, so I'm used to programming and assembly years ago where you didn't have all this bloatware. So I like the Linux operating system. It's very strong, very lean. The Pi was architected really well with the ARM architecture. The nice thing is the way we developed it is the Pi is just your client, so it's just getting the video and whatnot of the screen from the actual data center that we have, where we can, if somebody wants more performance, they can buy a higher end desktop, and you just so they could do CAD work or whatever, and then set an image across the internet to your desktop with an inexpensive Pi. And we love the concept, and a lot of folks we speak to agree with us.
You're sitting there with some basic tools and putting pure thought. Someone this morning from IBM said that we think that Python is now the most popular language. It's finally,
Oh, we love Python. It's a great language for people who want to learn programming. So I recommend people to go buy, an inexpensive Pi. You can probably assemble one yourself for $50 and get Python on it and program. It's great. It's great for educate. Python is being used by a lot of companies. People don't realize. I think a lot of these firms out there, in Silicon Valley, are using Python. It's a beautiful language. It's a great language.
So if this doesn't get you excited, then nothing will. So how do they find you? It's the DataClear?
Basically, they go to our website. It's www.DataClear, DATAClear.com. And we're going to be doing some updates on the black box. That's coming out in the next 3 to 6 months. And, our information's there. They can just go to the website and send us an email, and we'll get back to them.
Tony, thanks for joining us. It's on his shirt. It's on his shirt.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you much, and thank you for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckhoff.